Hello and welcome to another Stamp with Amy K Facebook Live video. I am just double checking that I am live out here where I want to be. And yep, it looks like I am. Looks like the video is going okay. So just want to make sure I can see all your comments coming in. All right, and if you're joining me live, so stop in and say hi. I appreciate you joining me. And hope that you'll learn a few things today. So today we are actually going to play with the Lasting Lily stamp set. And hey Karen, how are you guys? Hopefully you're doing well and staying warm. It's freezing in Georgia today. So today we're going to be using the Lasting Lily stamp set and the Lily Framelits dies. And I have a couple of tips and tricks to show you for using the Framelits dies to get the stems to line up, because I know that they don't line up perfectly if you just lay the stem out flat. So you kind of have to help it to figure out which direction to go. And then the sentiment for my card came from the Part of My Story stamp set, which I use the one that's "The World Needs More People Like You." So, hey, Connie, thanks for hopping in. Oh, Mary's here too. Oh boy, we're in trouble. So, okay. So, both of these stamp sets are celebration items that you can earn for free with. And this stamp set you can order, the Part of My Story, you can actually get for free with an order of $50 or greater. And the Lasting Lily stamp set you can get for free with an order of $100 or greater. And then Stampin' Up! Has just come out with some Framelits dies, and they're calling these celebration coordination items. And there are 4 sets of Framelits, a punch, and a stamp set that all coordinate with the celebration items that are available for purchase. So Mary doesn't know what I'm speaking about. Of course not. So, all right, let's get going. Hey, Vicki, thanks for hopping in. I'm going to set the card aside, get this out of the way over here. So I started actually and did a few of the things ahead of time so you didn't have to sit and watch me glue things together. I've got a Sahara Sand card base, and it's cut to 4 1/4 by 11 and scored at 5 1/2. And again, this will all be out on my blog tomorrow along with links to purchase anything that you're seeing here today. So don't be worrying about it and stressing out about making sure you're keeping up with all the stuff. I'll just talk through it and show you how I do these, and then you can you can check out my blog post tomorrow. And I see, oh, Karen's saying I've wasted a lot of paper trying to line the stamps up. So yes, they are a little challenging. I will tell you that. But like I said, I figured out a little trick, and they're really easy once you sort of figure out how to do it. So, okay, so beautifully detailed laser cut specialty paper. I don't know if I already said that, but this is from the Occasions catalog. It's actually petal pink on the opposite side, but I wanted the white side to show today. So that is what I've done. This is a whole sheet of really pretty, intricate, detailed cut frames, and you just basically chop them up, and they're really pretty. So, all right. So let's set that aside and we'll get busy stamping. So first things first, I know that I talked through this technique, I think 2 videos ago, I can't remember, how I use sponge daubers to get the images on the distinctive stamps to show up much nicer. They are a little challenging to use just because the ink pads are so inky that it fills in all the spots that you don't want filled in on the image. And I found that using a sponge dauber with it makes all the difference in the world for my images. So I'm starting with a little So Saffron ink, and as you'll notice, I'm doing a little different color scheme today just because I thought that would be something a little more fun and show you a few other colors that you can use for this pretty stamp set. Inking up one of the lilies on the Lasting Lily stamp set, and then I'm going to take a sponge dauber and just lightly tap it in my So Saffron ink, and then I'm going to tap it all over the entire image. And what this does, at least for me, is that it evens out the ink and takes all of the excess ink and sort of moves it out of the way so that you don't get the big globs of ink where it's filled in all over the image and you don't want it there. So, like I said, it's worked for me. Hopefully that little tip will work. Hey, Patricia, thanks for hopping in. All right, the next one that I used is a little bit of Grapefruit Grove ink. And, whoop, I almost used the wrong sponge dauber. And just tapped it a little bit on Grapefruit Grove. And this I'm just going to use to add a little bit of color around the edge. I'm not actually going to use it to ink up anything other than the edge of the stamp. Just, again, a little sponge dauber around the edge of my lily. And then I'm going to stamp it down on the paper. Give it a second. And then lift it off. And hopefully you can see that that is stamping just the way that I want it to. So, rather than being all globby and blobby and not looking pretty. So, okay. Now we're going to do the part that's a little bit more challenging. I'm going to do a couple of the stems for you and show you how I do these from the Lasting Lily stamp set. So if you have the dies, you're going to notice that they're not exactly straight. The stems are not perfectly straight. So when you lay out your stems on your block, if you just stick them straight to it and then straighten out your stem, it's not going to match up with the die. So what I have found has worked for me is I actually take the die, find the right image, and then I'm going to take the die, and hopefully you can see it, and I'm going to actually stick the stamp up into the die so that basically it's matched up and it's kind of up and inside the die. Hopefully you can see it kind of, I'll move it around a little bit. But I've basically taken the image and put it inside the die so that I know when I put it then down on my block that it's going to match. Oh, of course. Of course it's going to match up when my hands are not shaking on the video. So let me try this again. I put it down here. There we go. So I've basically taken the die, put it around the stamp, and then adhered the stamp to the block with the die still on it so that I know that this is going to cut exactly the way that I want it to. So that has worked very well for me when I have been lining up these images. I'm going to do the same thing with the second stem image, where I'm going to take it and I'm going to put it up inside the die, get the stem all lined up, grab my block, and it does seem to work better rather than trying to float it in the air and have four hands. If I actually lay it down on my desk, and hopefully you can see what I'm doing, but I'm basically just taking the die and then sticking the stamp to the block so I know that they're going to be then lined up when I take the die away. And same thing with the last leaf that you got here, is I'm just taking that and I'm sticking it up and inside the die. Hopefully you can see it. I'm not, like I said, I don't know which angle is easiest for you to see it at. I can see it easily here, but you know, I'm sitting right in front of it doing it myself. So again, just doing the same thing and adhering it to the block with the die still on it so that when I go to lift it off, I know that this is going to be exactly where I want it to be. One quick thing to note, I don't think there's any way you could get them on there upside down, but make sure that your cutting side is up when you're lining these things up. Just a quick little tip to make sure that you're not getting it all crazy and ended up and saying, Amy doesn't know what she's talking about, which sometimes I really don't. But on this, it has worked well for me. So I'm going to use a little bit of lemon lime twist ink, and I'm going to ink up my stem images here. And again, do the same thing with these because they have got the distinctive look to them as well. Just using a little sponge dauber and doing the daubering. Is daubering a word? I don't know. I know I always go back and forth on knowing whether, I don't know whether daubering is actually a word or not. So I could be making up my own thing, which is good. So, all right. Same thing here. Gonna do a little bit of inking on the stem, or on the leaf part. Yes, leaf part. That's an official term too. So between daubering and leaf parts, I think I pretty well got my own vocabulary made up today. So stamping that down on a little Whisper White cardstock, and then I'm going to do the final image. Same thing again, just doing a little sponge dauber. And I can see that I took too much ink off that spot, so I'm going to add a little bit more back. All right. And I've got all three of the stems stamped, so I can get that up and out of the way. I can make up words. Mary does too. Yes, I agree. So Mary makes up words, so I can too. So there. All right. So now I'm going to go ahead and pull out my Big Shot and hopefully not shake the table for too many times across here. I'll see what I can all get lined up in one swing through. I'll see. Hold your breath and cross your fingers, and hopefully we can get all of these lined up and just do one single cut, but probably not, because that's usually not how it works for me. I end up with one that goes all crazy and then doesn't want to stay where it's supposed to be, and you know, anyway, sort of like that one there. So then I end up usually doing 2 passes through. And I'm sure Mary's probably making fun of me right now, and I can't even see it, so. All right. So let's get this. Oh, I got 3 of them. Hold on. Maybe we'll get all 4 of them on here and do them on one pass. And then hopefully I won't screw something up and have it chop somewhere where it shouldn't be chopping. All right. Okay, again, hold your breath. I think we're gonna do it. Running things through the Big Shot, wiggling my table. I know washi tape I could pull out, but you know, I'm lazy. And you all know I'm a lazy stamper. So, whoop. All right, let's get these out of the die. So hopefully everything has cut, and as you can see, it's basically, although I did go a little bit too high on that one because I wasn't paying attention, but it's cut the way that I want it to be. This is exactly how I want the stems to be lined up, so they have worked perfectly. So Mary's completely innocent. Yeah, see, others are even laughing at you. So got everything all cut out just like I want it to be, which is an awesome bonus. And like I said, that the little trick of actually putting the image up inside the die has worked really well for me, so hopefully that will work for you too. And it's really not as fiddly as I made it appear. You know, like I said, when my hands are shaking on the camera, then all of a sudden I can't seem to get anything lined up, but it's really not very difficult to do. So I did go ahead and do one of the flowers ahead of time so you didn't have to watch me do all of them. So can never get more than 2 done at a time. See, I don't know. Sometimes I can, sometimes I get lucky, and then the next one I got to cut 12 of them, and I have to do them all individually because I can't get anything to stay still on the plates. So, all right, so we got the first flower, just using a little multi-purpose liquid glue to adhere it to the card front. And this is actually going to be a fairly flat card for me. Normally mine are like all kinds of crazy layers, and but this one's going to be fairly flat. And might even be mailable with just one stamp. I don't know what the post office will do because mine rarely are. So, all right, using a little multi-purpose liquid glue again to stick down the stems. All right, hopefully I'm still on screen because I have a bunch of junk on my desk. I don't know why, but doing a video. So again, a little multi-purpose liquid glue, just adhering things together. And you'll see this one hangs a little bit off the end, which was not necessarily the look that I was going for. So I did give it a little bit of a haircut, and we'll set that aside over there. Stick it down here. And I've hidden the little haircut that I gave it is actually going to be hidden by the sentiment, so no trouble, no worries there. And going ahead and gluing a pretty little leaf on there. Hey Robbie, thanks for hopping in. So, and Mary, oh, is Mary complaining? I must have missed a comment from her. She's probably over there crying in the corner. That's what happens. So, all right, so I think we got mostly the card front is done. All right, gonna add a little bit of twine around here. Linen thread, because of course, you know, I can't really do much of anything without tying at least a half a dozen bows over the top of it. I'll try to get it on here the right way the next time around here though. And tying a quick, well, I always say quick bow, but they never are quick when I'm doing them on screen. I don't know why I can always get them done much faster and usually a lot neater when I'm not on screen, but again, I guess it's that shaky hands thing. So, doing a little bow over here, giving the bow a little haircut. And then I went ahead and pre-stamped the sentiment, and again, it's from the Part of My Story stamp set, so I'll pull that over again, and I just used this one, and I used one of the dies from the Lily Framelits dies to cut it out, so I used this die and then layered it on top of die cut of So Saffron with this die, and again, this stamped in So Saffron ink. So, well, thank you, Amanda, I appreciate that. So, I know clean and simple is definitely my favorite style, so that is what I usually do. Using a couple little Stampin' Dimensionals that I have cut in half because they fit for me a little bit better when I'm trying to do these types of sentiments where it's kind of a longer, narrow, and I want it to layer over the top of something like this, like the twine that I'm doing on here. So just adhering the sentiment on, and we're getting down there on the card front. These are the Share What You Love Artisan Pearls, and actually added just a couple of these sort of randomly around the card front by the sentiment, and kind of stuck over here by the flower. And that's it for the card front. So hopefully you guys like that. I don't know, I actually am leaning towards, I think I like the yellow color a little bit better than the Grapefruit Grove myself. So hopefully you guys like that. So And Karen says she might have to use this card for her next workshop, except they would have to fussy cut. You need to get the dies, Karen, then they wouldn't have to fussy cut. See? All right. So, hey, Jamie, thanks for hopping in. And Mary, I appreciate it. And thanks for your nice comments. So, again, I went ahead and pre-stamped some things so that you didn't have to sit and watch me stamp the same images 59 times. But again, this is just the smaller flower from the Lasting Lily stamp set. And used a little So Saffron ink to ink up the main part of it. And then sponged around it with Grapefruit Grove. And then used a little bit of Lemon Lime Twist ink to stamp the stems. And just going to use a little snail to stick that to the inside of my card base. And that is it. Let me grab my bone folder, which I always forget every single time. Thankfully, it's right there handy on my desk. So that's it. So this is the card share for today, but hopefully the little tips with lining up your dies helped you out a little bit. If you don't have the set yet, you definitely need to get it. So hopefully that'll help you when you do get your die set to be able to line up your stems a little bit easier. Because like I said, I went through a little bit of cardstock the first time I tried it and couldn't get it to work the way I wanted it to. And then it occurred to me that all I needed to do was stick the images up inside the dies, and then they would die cut perfectly and stamp perfectly every single time. So let me know if you have any questions. And yet, Karen, I did do one dimensional. I did it underneath the sentiment here on the front. So there was one, because I can't do a card without any dimensionals, I don't think. So thanks so much for joining me today. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Again, the items that I've used on the card, I'll be linking up to everything on my blog post for tomorrow. And again, don't forget these dies and the new stamp set. The celebration coordination items are only available while supplies last through March 31st. So that's very important. If these are things that you are wanting, you're wanting to get the dies, which you do want them, trust me, to go with the celebration stamp sets, you need to make sure that you get these items ordered and ordered very soon so that you can make sure that you get them, because I did hear that the Hop Around Framelits dies are sold out in the UK already. So if you're on the fence about getting them or waiting, don't wait, because I don't want that same thing to happen to you here. So, all right. So how did you miss the sentiment, Karen? I have no idea, but it is a good one, and it's one of my favorite ones actually out of there. And the Artisan Pearls, you like that too? I'm glad they're really pretty. I like them a lot too. So again, thanks for stopping in today. Let me know if you have questions. Hopefully I haven't rambled on too much and Mary hasn't made too much fun of me while I wasn't looking. So again, thanks for joining me today. Let me know if you have questions. I'm happy to help, and have a fantastic rest of your Tuesday.